When I was on Death Row Records, we made a lot of money, but Suge Knight controlled it all. Everything was in his name. He distributed the money, he passed it out, he gave you what he felt you should have. We got a lot of money. But it may not have been what we supposed to have.
The dynamics between Snoop Dogg and Suge Knight have long been shrouded in mystery and speculation within the hip-hop community. In a recent revelation, Snoop Dogg has opened up about his relationship with Suge Knight, shedding light on the intricacies of their interactions and the strategies he employed to navigate the tumultuous dynamics between them. Let's delve into the complex history between Dogg and Knight and explore the revelations made by the iconic rapper. Snoop Dogg shut Suge up. In the early 90s, a young rapper from Long Beach, California, would emerge as one of the most influential figures in hip-hop history. His name, Snoop Dogg. But before he became a household name, Snoop's journey began in the streets, where he honed his skills and embraced the gangsta rap culture. Snoop Dogg's gangster credentials were never in doubt. As a teenager, he was affiliated with the notorious Rollin' 20s Crips, a street gang known for its involvement in criminal activities. But it was his undeniable talent and unique style that caught the attention of one man who would change the course of his career forever: Suge Knight. Suge Knight, the co-founder of Death Row Records, recognized Snoop's potential and wasted no time in signing him to the label. At the time of Snoop Dogg's emergence, Death Row Records was at the forefront of the West Coast rap scene, with artists like Dr. Dre, Tupac Shakur, and Snoop Dogg himself leading the charge. Under Suge Knight's leadership, the label became synonymous with gangsta rap and enjoyed immense commercial success. Death Row Records, known for its gritty and raw sound, released a series of groundbreaking albums that defined an era. Dr. Dre's The Chronic in 1992, Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style in 1993, and Tupac's All Eyes on Me in 1996 were just a few of the label's iconic releases. These albums not only solidified Death Row Records' place in hip-hop history, but also catapulted Snoop Dogg to superstardom. Snoop's smooth flow, laid-back demeanor, and unmistakable voice captivated audiences worldwide. Tracks like Gin and Juice and Murder Was the Case became instant classics, showcasing Snoop's lyrical prowess and his ability to paint vivid pictures of life on the streets. Collaborating closely with Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg became the face of West Coast gangsta rap, representing a lifestyle that was both revered and controversial. His music spoke to a generation, resonating with those who understood the realities of the streets and the struggles faced by many in marginalized communities. But as the saying goes, all good things must come to an end. Despite his success at Death Row Records, Snoop Dogg's journey took an unexpected turn, which eventually led to a parting of ways with the label that had propelled him to stardom. Behind the scenes, tensions brewed between Snoop Dogg and Suge Knight. The relationship between the two was characterized by a mixture of admiration, animosity, and power struggles. While Suge Knight played a pivotal role in launching Snoop's career and providing him with a platform to showcase his talent, their relationship was often strained by conflicts and disagreements. Snoop Dogg's statement about making Suge Knight shut up stems from the challenges he faced while under the management of Suge. In a recent interview, Snoop Dogg opened up about his relationship with Suge Knight and offered insights into the strategies he employed to navigate their tumultuous partnership. One of the most effective ways Snoop Dogg dealt with Suge Knight was by choosing his battles wisely and avoiding unnecessary confrontations. Snoop Dogg revealed that he learned early on that engaging in power struggles with Suge would only escalate tensions and lead to further conflict. Instead, he adopted a strategy of remaining calm, composed, and focused on his music and career goals. Snoop Dogg emphasized the importance of staying true to himself and not allowing external pressures to dictate his actions. Despite the challenges he faced while under the management of Suge Knight, Snoop remained committed to his craft and continued to deliver hit after hit, earning him widespread acclaim and respect within the hip-hop community. In 1996, Snoop Dogg left Death Row Records, seeking a new direction for his music and personal growth. His departure marked the beginning of a new chapter in his career, one that would see him navigate the ever-changing landscape of the music industry. After Snoop Dogg's departure from Death Row Records, tensions between him and Suge Knight started escalating, leading to a bitter feud that captivated the hip-hop world. The split was marked by legal battles and public feuds, including allegations of unpaid royalties and contract disputes. The once close-knit relationship between the artist and label boss had turned sour, and both parties were not shy about expressing their animosity towards each other. Snoop Dogg didn't hold back in his disdain for Suge Knight, using his music as a platform to voice his frustrations. Tracks like Pimp Slapped became anthems of defiance, with Snoop taking direct shots at his former mentor. Meanwhile, Suge Knight, who was serving a prison sentence at the time, didn't shy away from the media. He used his platform to respond to Snoop's disses, fueling the fire of their ongoing feud. The feud between Snoop Dogg and Suge Knight seemed irreparable, with no end in sight. However, fate had a different plan for these two hip-hop heavyweights. In 2005, Snoop Dogg took it upon himself to bring peace to the West Coast hip-hop community. He organized a summit called Unify the West, aimed at squashing beefs and promoting unity among artists. Surprisingly, Snoop Dogg and Suge Knight put their differences aside and reconciled at the summit. The once bitter enemies found common ground and decided to move forward, leaving their feud behind them. Today, Snoop Dogg looks back on his time working with Suge Knight as a beautiful chapter in his career. Despite the ups and downs, their collaboration left an indelible mark on the history of hip-hop. While Snoop Dogg managed to find peace and continue his musical journey, Suge Knight's life took a different turn. In 2018, he was sentenced to 28 years in prison for manslaughter, marking a tragic end to his once powerful reign in the music industry. The story of Snoop Dogg and Suge Knight's feud serves as a reminder of the volatile nature of the music industry and the personal transformations that can occur within it. It's a tale of redemption, forgiveness, and the power of unity. We've journeyed through the early years of Snoop Dogg's rise to stardom, his association with Death Row Records, and the bitter feud that erupted between him and Suge Knight. But despite the animosity and public diss tracks, Snoop Dogg and Suge Knight found a way to put their differences aside. Through the Unify the West Summit, they chose to prioritize unity and forgiveness, leaving their feud behind them. Snoop Dogg's statement about making Suge Knight shut up should be understood in the context of their complex relationship and the challenges they faced while working together. It reflects Snoop's pragmatic approach to dealing with conflict and his determination to rise above adversity. While Snoop Dogg's statement may have been made in jest or during the heat of the moment, it offers a glimpse into the dynamics between two iconic figures in hip-hop history. Their relationship, marked by both collaboration and conflict, remains a subject of fascination and speculation within the hip-hop community. Despite their differences, Snoop Dogg and Suge Knight have left an indelible mark on the rap industry, shaping its evolution and influencing generations of artists to come. Today, Snoop Dogg looks back on his collaboration with Suge Knight as a beautiful chapter in his career, while Suge Knight's life took a tragic turn, resulting in a lengthy prison sentence. This story serves as a reminder of the volatile nature of the music industry and the personal transformations that can occur within it. It showcases the power of reconciliation and the importance of moving forward, even in the face of adversity. Snoop Dogg's journey from the streets of Long Beach to becoming a global icon is a testament to his resilience and talent. His music continues to resonate with fans around the world, and his legacy as one of the pioneers of West Coast gangsta rap remains intact. As for Suge Knight, his role in shaping the music industry cannot be denied. Despite the controversies and legal troubles, his impact on hip-hop is undeniable. The legacy of Death Row Records, the label that brought Snoop Dogg and Suge Knight together, lives on through the timeless music they created. This is a story of redemption, forgiveness, and the power of music to transcend boundaries. Knight's revelations on Dogg. In a fiery online feud that has taken the industry by storm, Suge Knight, the notorious former head of Death Row Records, made explosive revelations on his podcast, Collect Call with Suge Knight. The target of his allegations? None other than hip-hop moguls Russell Simmons and the late Andre Harrell. The shocking revelations sent shockwaves through the industry, leaving fans and fellow artists stunned. But it was Snoop Dogg's response that turned up the heat. In the latest episode of his podcast, Suge Knight dropped bombshells that have left fans and fellow artists stunned. He claimed that Andre Harrell, the former Uptown Records boss, had been involved in a secret affair with Russell Simmons. These allegations have sent shockwaves through the industry, as both Simmons and Harrell are highly respected figures in the world of hip-hop. The revelation of this secret affair has left fans questioning the integrity of these two moguls. Russell Simmons, the co-founder of Def Jam Recordings, has long been regarded as a pioneer in the industry. His influence and contributions to hip-hop cannot be denied. Andre Harrell, the founder of Uptown Records, played a crucial role in shaping the sound of R&B and hip-hop in the 1980s and 1990s. Together, they have left an indelible mark on the music industry, but it was Snoop Dogg's response to these explosive allegations that turned up the heat. Known for his laid-back demeanor, Snoop took to Instagram to express his thoughts. Under an Instagram post, he wrote, "SMH, I'm praying for that brother he finds peace." Little did he know that this seemingly simple comment would set off a social media storm. Suge Knight, never one to hold back, unleashed a Twitter rampage aimed squarely at Snoop. He accused the Long Beach rapper of lying, being a fake Crip, and more. The tension between these two hip-hop legends escalated as Suge challenged Snoop to produce proof of payment or an agreement to back up his claims. The feud quickly spiraled out of control, with both artists trading barbs and insults on social media. But Suge Knight didn't stop there. In a final twist, he took a swipe at Snoop's personal life. He tweeted, "You pray for me, Snoop Dogg. Okay, I'll pray your wife stops going to Hawaii with other men." This accusation hit hard, leaving fans wondering about the truth behind the claim and the impact it could have on Snoop's personal life. Suge Knight's podcast Collect Call with Suge Knight has been a hot topic since its inception. Last December, the inaugural episode put Akon in the crosshairs over rape allegations. The convict singer threatened legal action, and now Snoop Dogg finds himself caught in the crossfire of Suge Knight's explosive claims. The feud between Suge Knight and Snoop Dogg not only captivated fans but also divided the hip-hop community. Supporters of Suge Knight praised his boldness and willingness to speak his mind, while Snoop's loyal fan base rallied behind him, defending his character and reputation. The tension between these two hip-hop legends escalated even further when Suge Knight reposted a video skit mocking Snoop's behavior when the cameras aren't rolling. This move by Knight added fuel to the fire, intensifying the feud and drawing even more attention to their ongoing battle. As the feud between Suge Knight and Snoop Dogg continues to play out online, fans are left wondering, will Snoop respond with more fire? Can Suge Knight's shocking allegations withstand scrutiny? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure, the hip-hop world won't forget this clash anytime soon. However, among the few times Suge Knight had Snoop Dogg's name in his mouth was during an interview sometime in 2023 when Snoop Dogg was in talks to purchase Death Row. The recent acquisition of Death Row Records by entrepreneur Michael "Harry O" Harris has sparked speculation and controversy within the hip-hop community. Amidst rumors of Snoop Dogg's involvement in the deal, former Death Row Records CEO Suge Knight has expressed doubts about Dogg's role. In this comprehensive summary, we will explore Knight's statements, the details surrounding Harry O's acquisition of Death Row Records, and the potential implications for Snoop Dogg. In an interview with TMZ, Suge Knight cast doubt on Snoop Dogg's purported involvement in Harry O's purchase of Death Row Records. Knight expressed skepticism about Dogg's financial capabilities and questioned whether Dogg had the resources to facilitate such a significant transaction. Knight's remarks added fuel to existing speculation surrounding Dogg's alleged role in the deal and raised questions about the authenticity of Dogg's claims. The acquisition of Death Row Records by Michael "Harry O" Harris has been met with both excitement and skepticism within the hip-hop community. Harris, a former drug kingpin who served 30 years in prison for attempted murder, emerged as the surprise buyer of the iconic record label. The deal, reportedly worth tens of millions of dollars, marked a significant milestone for Harris, who had long harbored ambitions of entering the music industry. Harris's acquisition of Death Row Records was facilitated by a consortium of investors, including private equity firms and individual backers. The deal provided Harris with the opportunity to revitalize the label and capitalize on its rich catalog of music and intellectual property. However, the involvement of Snoop Dogg in the transaction remained a subject of speculation, with conflicting reports emerging about Dogg's role in facilitating the deal. The doubts expressed by Suge Knight about Snoop Dogg's involvement in Harry O's purchase of Death Row Records have cast a shadow of uncertainty over the deal and raised questions about Dogg's role in the transaction. As speculation continues to swirl and conflicting reports emerge, the hip-hop community remains divided over the authenticity of Dogg's alleged involvement. Ultimately, the truth behind Dogg's role in the acquisition of Death Row Records may have far-reaching implications for his reputation and standing within the industry. While the news of the purchase shocked many, it was Suge Knight's reaction that truly turned heads. In an exclusive interview with TMZ Hip Hop, Suge expressed his skepticism about the legality of the transaction and raised eyebrows with a shocking theory. "Personally, I don't feel like it's really Death Row without my name attached. But that's not even the craziest part. I think Harry O might have pulled off some bankruptcy fraud to get the company out from under me." Knight also shared, "Harry O was always a shrewd businessman, but I never expected him to stoop this low. I believe he manipulated the bankruptcy process to make it seem like Death Row was in dire straits, all while planning to swoop in and take over." Wait, did he just say bankruptcy fraud? That's a serious allegation. Bankruptcy fraud occurs when an individual or entity intentionally conceals assets, provides false information, or manipulates the bankruptcy process for personal gain. It is a serious offense that can result in severe legal repercussions. Bankruptcy fraud is a federal crime that undermines the integrity of the bankruptcy system. If proven, those involved can face hefty fines and even imprisonment. The consequences are not to be taken lightly. But before we dive into the details, let's take a step back and reiterate the significance of Death Row Records and its impact on the music industry. In the early 1990s, Death Row Records emerged as a powerhouse in the hip-hop scene. Led by Suge Knight, the label became known for its gritty and authentic sound, capturing the essence of West Coast rap. With chart-topping albums and groundbreaking collaborations, Death Row Records dominated the airwaves and set the stage for a new era of rap music. Death Row Records was more than just a label, it was a cultural phenomenon. But as the years went by, the label faced its fair share of challenges. Legal troubles, internal conflicts, and the tragic loss of artists artists like Tupac Shakur cast a shadow over its legacy. And now, with the unexpected sale to Harry O, the future of Death Row Records hangs in the balance. Will Suge Knight's claims be investigated? Will Harry O face legal consequences if the allegations of bankruptcy fraud are proven true? And what does this mean for Snoop Dogg's involvement in the label? Snoop Dogg, a prominent artist associated with Death Row Records, finds himself caught in the middle of this controversy. Look, I've always had love and respect for Death Row and what it represented, but I had no idea about any of this. I just wanted to keep the legacy alive. However, will he address Suge Knight's doubts? Only time will tell. Death Row collaborations. Founded in 1991 by the Docky, Dr. Dre, Suge Knight, and Dick Griffey, Death Row Records quickly rose to prominence in the 1990s, releasing multi-platinum hip-hop albums that defined the West Coast sound. With iconic artists like Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Thigh Dog Pound, and Tupac, the label reached unprecedented heights, making over $100 million a year. However, tragedy struck with the untimely death of Tupac, the imprisonment of Suge Knight, and the departures of Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, leading to the label's decline and eventual bankruptcy in 2006. But the story doesn't end there. In the late 1980s, the hip-hop landscape was forever changed when a group of visionary artists came together to form a record label that would redefine the genre. This is the story of Death Row Records, a powerhouse that emerged from the streets of Los Angeles, leaving an indelible mark on the music industry. It all began when Dr. Dre, a talented producer and rapper, found himself at odds with his former label, Ruthless Records, headed by Eazy-E and Jerry Heller. Dissatisfied with the financial arrangements, Dr. Dre decided to break away and forge his own path. Joined by the DOC, a gifted rapper and songwriter, and Suge Knight, a formidable figure with a keen business sense, Dr. Dre set out to create a label that would give artists the creative freedom they craved and the financial rewards they deserved. Initially known as Future Shock, the label underwent a transformation, adopting the name Death Row before finally settling on the iconic moniker Death Row Records. With a name that evoked both power and controversy, Death Row Records was ready to make its mark. The label's first major breakthrough came with the release of Dr. Dre's groundbreaking debut solo album, The Chronic, in 1992. This seminal work not only showcased Dr. Dre's production genius, but also introduced the world to a new sound that would come to define West Coast hip-hop. Riding high on the success of The Chronic, Death Row Records wasted no time in introducing another rising star to the world. Enter Snoop Doggy Dogg, a young and charismatic rapper whose smooth flow and laid-back style captivated audiences. Snoop Dogg's debut album, Doggy Style, released in 1993, became an instant classic, solidifying Death Row Records' position as a force to be reckoned with in the music industry. The album's infectious beats and Snoop Dogg's unique storytelling ability propelled him to superstardom. With the success of Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, Death Row Records became a magnet for talent. Artists like Thigh Dog Pound, comprised of Daz Dillinger and Kurupt, added their own flavor to the label's roster, further cementing Death Row's dominance in the rap game. As Death Row Records continued to rise, so did the controversies surrounding the label. The East Coast-West Coast rivalry, fueled by tensions between Death Row and Bad Boy Records led by Puff Daddy, reached a boiling point, with tragic consequences that would forever change the course of hip-hop history. In 1996, Death Row Records made a pivotal signing that would further elevate its status. The legendary Tupac Shakur, one of the most influential and enigmatic figures in rap, joined the label, bringing his raw talent and unapologetic lyrics to the Death Row family. Tupac's presence on Death Row Records added fuel to the already intense East Coast-West Coast feud. His lyrical jabs at rival artists and his outspoken nature made him a lightning rod for controversy. But amidst the chaos, Death Row Records continued to thrive, releasing posthumous albums that showcased Tupac's brilliance. However, the label faced internal struggles as well. The departure of Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, two of Death Row's biggest stars, dealt a significant blow to the label's stability, and the imprisonment of Suge Knight, Death Row's co-founder and driving force, left a void that would be difficult to fill. Despite these challenges, Death Row Records soldiered on, releasing music from its remaining roster of artists and attempting to maintain its position at the forefront of the rap industry. But the label's control and success began to wane, leading to financial difficulties that ultimately resulted in bankruptcy in 2006. The story of Death Row Records seemed to have reached its final chapter. The label that had once reigned supreme was now a shadow of its former self. But as we know, in the world of music, nothing is ever truly over. Just when it seemed like death, Row Records had faded into obscurity. A new chapter in its storied history was about to unfold. In February 2022, a surprising announcement sent shockwaves through the music industry. Snoop Dogg, one of Death Row's most iconic artists, had acquired the rights to the label with a mission to breathe new life into its legacy. Snoop Dogg's purchase of Death Row Records Records marked a turning point as he sought to revive the label and honor its rich history. With his deep connection to the label and his unwavering dedication to the West Coast sound, Snoop Dogg was the perfect candidate to carry the torch. Under Snoop Dogg's ownership, Death Row Records wasted no time in making its presence felt once again. The label launched its own streaming service, bringing the iconic Death Row catalog back to the forefront and introducing a new generation to the timeless music that defined an era. But Snoop Dogg's vision extended beyond simply reissuing past hits. He had his sights set on the future, with plans to acquire the catalogs of not only himself, but also other Death Row artists. This move ensured that the label's legacy would be preserved and celebrated for years to come. The revival of Death Row Records also meant a resurgence of its distinctive sound. Snoop Dogg, with his smooth delivery and laid-back style, continued to release new music under the label, staying true to the West Coast roots that had made Death Row a force to be reckoned with. As Death Row Records reclaimed its place in the music industry, it also sought to honor the artists who had contributed to its legacy. The label embarked on a mission to release special editions and reissues of classic albums, giving fans a chance to rediscover the magic that made Death Row Records legendary. But Snoop Dogg's ownership of Death Row Records did not include the rights to the albums of two of the label's biggest stars, Tupac Shakur and Dr. Dre. These albums remained with Interscope Records, a reminder of the complex web of ownership and distribution that exists in the music business. Despite this limitation, Snoop Dogg's dedication to Death Row Records remained unwavering. He understood the importance of preserving the label's history and ensuring that its impact would never be forgotten. With Death Row Records back in the hands of one of its own, the future looks bright for this iconic label. Snoop Dogg's passion and commitment to the West Coast sound, combined with his deep understanding of Death Row's legacy, make him the perfect custodian of this musical institution. So as we reflect on the tumultuous history of Death Row Records, let us also celebrate its enduring spirit. From its humble beginnings to its rise to dominance, from the controversies to the triumphs, Death Row Records has left an indelible mark on the world of hip-hop. And now, with Snoop Dogg at the helm, Death Row Records is poised to once again captivate audiences and shape the future of rap music. The story continues, and the legend lives on. And here's the captivating journey through the history of Death Row Records. From its groundbreaking beginnings with Dr. Dre, Suge Knight, and the DOC, to the rise of iconic artists like Snoop Dogg and Tupac Shakur, Death Row Records carved its place in music history. The label faced its fair share of controversies and challenges, but its impact on the rap industry cannot be denied. With its signature West Coast sound and a roster of talented artists, Death Row Records became a cultural phenomenon. After years of ups and downs, the label has found new life under the ownership of Snoop Dogg, who is determined to honor its legacy and bring it into the future. Death Row Records is once again making waves, with its catalog back on streaming platforms and plans for exciting new releases. Thank you for joining us today as we explore Snoop Dogg's tips on dealing with Suge Knight. For more on this development, click on the next video. Until next time.